Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Air Force One, the new Air Force One Flying Fortress. This is a documentary from National Geographic, of course. It's about 44 minutes long, 45 minutes long. It's from 2021, and it features basically the story of what goes into making the most important plane in the world. It's not a fighter plane that we know of. I mean, it's never... Okay, there is a president that just happens to be on board, that they interview multiple times, that was involved in the design and the remaking of certain elements of the plane, and he likes to tell people that he can't say certain things about certain things a lot in this. So we'll take that for whatever it is. I imagine that this humongous flying fortress is a bigger plane than has ever served a president in its history. And we do get a lot of history in this. We get to see what the planes looked like over the years since air travel became a thing for presidents. We don't see Abraham Lincoln's plane because he didn't have one. But we get to see everything just going back to the beginning, and to see how, again, everything is kind of limited. They can't show everything to National Geographic. National Geographic has an awful lot of leeway in this, but of course, there are only certain things that we'll show. Yes, it probably has offensive capabilities. Let's just say, I'm going to guess that somehow, some way, there might be some offensive capabilities on this plane. I could be completely wrong, but anyway, it definitely has defensive capabilities. It is a fortress, literally, as it says in the title. It is a fortress in the sky. It is the biggest plane. It is the most highly technologically advanced plane, and it's not ready yet. This was made in 2021, this documentary, and they were pretty much still, I think they were started it like probably around 2018. So the person who helped design it never will get to use it unless something happens in 2024. I know who I could be talking about. But yeah, we get to see presidents over the years, including some history-making moments with not just the crew. We get to see the crew discuss their responsibilities on the plane, whether it's cooking food or handling the medical needs of anybody that happens to be riding on the plane, not just the president. They have to be ready for anything, such as, say, somebody has a heart attack, or somebody's allergic to certain types of food, and they maybe they weren't supposed to have that. Maybe they're just, sick for whatever reason, and they have to have every type of medication, every type of possibility available to take care of anybody who happens to be on board, from the lowliest Secret Service agent to the president, him or herself eventually. But in this case, we get to see a lot of what the planes looked like in the past. The previous plane, I think, was brought on board through George W. Bush. That's a long time ago. He was the first president, and when he died in 2018, he actually was the last president to take a flight. Well, his son was on it. I said George W. Bush. I meant George Sr. George Herbert Walker Bush. Sorry, when he died in 2018. George W. Bush has not died yet, and he also rode on that plane for the final trip of the plane before it was put in storage, or is it on display in Maryland? I imagine maybe that people can walk through it now. Again, no secrets are revealed, but we get to see them like drilling holes and running cable and doing all sorts of... They had to gut an existing plane that just happened to be sitting... There's a bunch of planes sitting in the Mojave Desert, by the way, in California here. And so the last president just went, let's get a couple of those. Let's spend a couple $1 billion and do all these upgrades, and he never got to ride in it. So, oh well, And so yeah, it's fascinating to me just seeing the technology at work, the people at work, and the history that goes. I think it goes back to FDR, and I think I might have spaced out at one point, but definitely John F. Kennedy after he was assassinated, all the things. I think Lyndon B. Johnson he was the first and only president to ever be sworn into power on Air Force One, on a plane. So that's a big deal. This is the kind of plane that can withstand pretty decent nuclear blast of any level of terror attack below that, and because nuclear blast is pretty high on the list. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting documentary. So politics aside, it doesn't take political sides whatsoever, and if you don't either, I think you might get a kick out of watching this. I didn't think it would be as interesting as I thought it would be, but it was. So politics is such a tricky thing. Presidential stuff is such a tricky thing these days. If you can look beyond that, yeah, give it a shot. I think I just glanced at somebody else's review. I just brought this up and I realized, I'm not going to use this because something big has happened recently at Disney Plus. A lot of changes have taken place, and I'm not stopping. Disney Plus isn't going away, but an awful lot of their content is all at one point. In fact, May 26th is the last day a lot of different content is going to be on Disney Plus. Now, I could just let it go and say, it's gone, because stuff leaves Disney Plus all the time. If you look right now, if you search right now, you'll find that the first 2 X-Men films are no longer on Disney Plus due to previous contract negotiations with 20th Century Fox. You can find them in Starz now, but you'll still find X-Men The Last Stand and some of the later X-Men films, Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and all those other ones. You'll still find them on Disney Plus. And odds are when 2023 is done, those X-Men films will return to Disney Plus. All 3 Home Alone films are gone, but they tend to come and go all the time, usually seasonally. So things do get removed all the time, but this is kind of a big deal, and it's a constantly changing list, actually. I had to check a number of different sources, and even this doesn't seem correct, because when certain things had been announced as being removed, some people got pretty ticked off. The movie Howard, which talks about the man who composed the music for The Little Mermaid, the movie that's coming out this week. He's memorialized in this film, and his humongous contribution to the revival of the Disney animated feature. The Renaissance era began with The Little Mermaid and the music he composed. And it seemed really inappropriate for Disney to go, I think we're just going to take that off right before Pride Month. He was a gay man. So, yeah, people made enough noise. It's sticking around. There's a number of other Pixar things and some Marvel things, like documentaries, behind-the-scenes stuff that was supposed to go away as well. Empower and the music of Wakanda and a few other things. A Spark story about the people who designed all those animated Spark shorts. It was supposed to all go away, but it's staying for now. I don't know. I have made a list of the 43, as of the recording of this, 43 things that are being removed from Disney Plus as of May 26th. The good thing is that we've watched most of them already. So we only have a few to catch up on before they go away. Why would I talk about these things when you won't be able to watch them beyond that date? What are we going to do? I realize this is really last minute, but I am going to tell you right now. Maybe I should leave it as a surprise. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it as a surprise. But this is a pretty strange. That's a pretty long list. I've color coded and everything because that's what I do. But I can tell you what we're going to watch next. We're going to watch another documentary, but one I've been wanting to watch. I want to get this knocked out fast, because at first the list only had 5 things. As far as I could tell, 5 things that I didn't already watch that were being removed. And I figured, I can knock those out. Little hint, I do record these sometimes a decent amount of time ahead before the date. Sometimes it's that night. Sometimes it's literally the moment it premieres. I don't have advanced access to a lot of this new stuff that gets premiered, so it's a balancing act at times. So, since they're taking away Willow, and we've already talked about Willow, we're going to watch the making of Willow, which is a very short documentary. It's like 33 minutes. That's what we're going to watch next. And that's what we'll come back tomorrow and talk about it. The Making of Willow, the series that's already been canceled, sort of, and really deserves a second season and should come back somehow. Maybe they'll make a Lucasfilm streaming service. Anyway, so many streaming services. The Making of Willow next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.